I just want to say though, before we get into this stuff, I feel like we need to get this up right out the way, Raja. We need to get this right out the way. 12-year-old Logan has a beef with you.
Mm,
12-year-old Logan, for full disclosure, was a Laker fan in the Bay Area around 2006. His favorite team was the Los Angeles Lakers. His favorite player was Kobe Bryant,
yeah, that's
and
tough.
the Phoenix Suns were playing against my Lakers, and this guy right here, gave a clothesline to my favorite player. So I don't personally at this age, I don't have a beef with you, but 12-year-old Logan just has a problem, man, and I just feel like we need to fix that right now before we go.
Well,
Any
I can appreciate 12-year-old Logan's beef with which would have been like a 31-year-old like Raja at the time. I appreciate that. There's still a lot of people though. Like I can appreciate you saying you're over it. There's still a lot of people that aren't. What I can say is at that moment in time, like like one of the things I always prided myself on was just keeping it real. Like, and it got me in
Mhm.
trouble at times. At times it was really valuable to teams I played on. And at that moment, I really felt like it was we were at a tipping point, whether I was just going to keep
Yeah.
kind of getting run over, or whether I was going to have to do something to have him, have some sort of respect for me just as a man. And I
Mhm.
could have read that situation all the way wrong because I've broken this down a lot. And Kobe and I became really good friends. But
Yeah.
at that time, that's where I was at. And again, I was like 30, so
Yeah.
31, and with a little
Was
more
that when
perspective.
keeping it real goes wrong though in hindsight? Was that or was that like a was that that needed to be done
Well, it needed to
at the
be
time?
done, and
Okay.
it could have went wrong. But my teammates really held me down in Game 6, I think, in LA because I
Mhm.
was suspended, or it would have went like really, really wrong. But we fortunately were able to come back, and I don't mean to open up old wounds, but that was a 3-1 comeback for the old
Okay, you
06
can
Suns.
chill on that. Okay, bro. You don't have to do all that. No, I'm just playing. But my question is, when you're in that phase, like after you clothesline a man, how do you feel the reaction from that dude is gonna be? And what was it afterwards?
Yeah, honestly, I was prepared to fight. I mean, once that happens, you just expect A, I expected to fight Kobe, and then B, I expected to have to like duck and fight most of his teammates.
Hmm.
So that's just kind of where I had gotten to with that. Kobe was a bigger man than I was in the moment. He had, a whole franchise on his shoulders. Like I just was playing a role on a team, so he couldn't
Right.
afford to engage me like that.
Hmm.
But I've said this before, and I was on Doug Gottlieb's show once, and he asked me, and it was really interesting that none of his teammates really wanted to like square up after the fact.
Right.
I found that interesting.
Yeah. And did he feel any sort of way? Like, what did he do in the an immediate aftermath of that?
Nah, Cole was completely dismissive of the situation of me as the opponent, and the perpetrator of the clothesline. Like he played it in the most infuriating of ways for me. Um,
Cause you're like, yo, punch me, bro. Like, do something to me, bro. Like,
like I
at
need,
least do something to make me. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I want to know that I'm under your skin, and
Yeah.
he played it really, really, really shrewdly, which was completely in character for him. But after, I mean, those playoffs passed, by the time we went through the next preseason, we had played each other in Vegas.
Yeah.
When I saw him for the regular season, it might have been the opener in Staples. By then we were cool. Like it was, kind of touch and go for me, but it appeared when I saw Kobe that he had kind of squashed it. He introduced me to his family. And from then, like,
I,
I respected the brother. I always respected him, but from then on, we
yeah.
were pretty cool.
I can imagine though, like when you're trying to, after you do that, and right before the next time you're about to see him, it's like you're probably all in your head, just like like what is he gonna do? And then he introduces you to his family, like, yo, this is Raja. What's popping?
Yes, real talk. It was on site for me just because that's where I'm
Yeah.
from. Like I would expect it would be, kind of that way. And so if you know the Staples, when you leave the visitors locker room to get to the bus, you have to pass the Lakers locker room. So
Yeah. Yeah. Of
as I
course.
come out, Kobe is ahead of me walking with the group at a slower pace than I'm walking. So it's inevitable that I'm going to pass. So I'm just prepped, like, okay, if it goes down and it's got to go down, and it's got to go down. And when I got right like by the side and he turned and looked at me, I realized it was his wife and his mother-in-law and a couple of his daughters, and
Hmm.
he couldn't have been nicer about it. So I really respected him, and obviously to have gotten a chance to lock horns with him, and whether I was able to have success or not, that's besides the point. He was just the ultimate competitor.
Let me tell you a Kobe story. Can I tell you a Kobe story? Story time.
Can we go story time with Raja? Story time with Raja. Let's get it.
There we go. We're in the Staples. Kobe and I are exchanging a couple elbows. I think he clipped me on the lip, and so we chested up. The refs pop in, stop it early in the first quarter, right? We chirp. He looked at the ref. Listen, he looked at the ref and he said, "Call it even tonight." Word. And I was like, what? And listen, Kobe still gave me work. But when you look at that box score, I had about 24 or 25 in Staples as a relatively unknown person on the Utah Jazz. Like my free throws were up, everything. But Kobe said to the ref, "Call it even tonight." That fucked me up.
So the ref was like, "Okay, Kobe."
I mean, I don't know what his processing of that was, but mine was like, my top was blown. And I'll be damned, like, it could have been coincidental. Maybe I was just on that night. It just felt
How'd
different.
that make you feel that you have one of the career games when Kobe said, Kobe like just was like, "Hey,
Kobe
man,
allowed me to have it? Like, he allowed me to have it.
Yeah. I didn't want to say that, but hey, how did that make you feel?
I didn't give a shit. I had 24, 25 of them. I'm trying to get paid.
Yeah, call it even then. Call it even.
Yeah, but I mean, it's deeper conversation, but I mean, that one got me a little bit. That one had me questioning some things that I thought were, that I thought could be real that may wind up being more real than I thought.
So TD, who's a legend right now,
yep,
brought up the stats from this game. I don't even know how he did it so fast, but that's why he's a legend. He says that you had 26, 9 of 17 from the field. Kobe was 8 of 23 for 34 points.
Well, there you go. I mean, but listen, if you look at, great job on bringing them stats up quick. But dog, I was rarely within 8 points of Kobe, and I'm rarely scoring 26 against Kobe.
Was that you? Like, was he your primary defender?
Not yet.
And you were just giving him buckets.
I mean, I don't remember every bucket of the game. I just remember the result and the conversation early in the game that just, there are things that you don't forget, right? Like there's some conversations that you have where you're like, man, that was deep.
You remember who the ref was?
Nah, I wish I did.
Oh, okay. All right. I think you do. You out here pump faking, but it's cool. It's cool. I get it. You could have played with Kobe. Why didn't you play with him? You end up going to the Jazz. You had a meeting. Kobe is texting you. I think this is 2009. Kobe's texting you, come through. And you spurn Kobe. You probably could have won a chip that year. But why didn't you? Why? Tell me more about that. What happened?
Listen, Kobe hit me, what is it, August 1st or July 30th, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It was my last time around the free agent block. I got a couple calls that night. Nothing firm. Just basically, letting you know you're going to be in the third tier of free agents, so don't press. Kobe called me the next morning. I was in the street in Long Island with my boys messing around, and he hit me, this is Kobe. Telling
Did you have his number? Was it like an LA number? Did you have
this? Wasn't. I had his number, but this was not his number. This was an LA number. So I was like, okay. It was Kobe, and he was telling me what the Heat were going to do. Like, these boys are getting a team together. They think that it's a wrap out here, but we're going to do our own thing. So I'm just letting you know, like, we got to work it out with management. But, anybody who could do what you did in the playoffs, I want them on my team. Like, he said it like that. Anybody who could clothesline me in the playoffs, I want on my team. So I was like, bet. So a few weeks go by. They spend all their money, though, Logan. So I'm in LA. He's sending the Mamba chopper to get me. Like, I'm like, you're not
Where
just.
Where are you in LA? He's sending you. What are we doing? What's going on?
I'm down there for the ESPYs. So wherever that's at, where the ESPYs held.
Hollywood.
Yeah, so I'm in the Chateau, probably up in that area doing something.
The Chateau Marmont.
Yeah. And Kobe's like, let's meet up. We'll have dinner. You come to my house. So I'm like, all right, bet. He's like, I'll send a chopper. I'm like, what? I'm like, dog, I just get in the car. He was like, no, I'll send a chopper. But in between then, no bullshit, in between that conversation and him telling the chopper, like, the time he was supposed to pick me up is probably like 3 hours later, Utah called with a deal that the Lakers just weren't going to be able to match. And, in my situation, you're offering me 10 times more than someone else is offering me, I gotta take that. You know what I mean?
What did Kobe say when you told him that, nah, hold that chopper?
All respect. Like, I know he didn't really fight me on it, man. I was like, yo, Utah gave me an offer that, it's 3 years for this. Like, y'all ain't gonna be able to get to that. And he was like, I understand, brother. And that was it.
What's it like guarding that Kobe versus the Kobe that you guarded in 06? Did he know? Like, I know he was great. He was an all-star, obviously, but he was 21, 22 years old at that point. Like, what do you see in that Kobe versus the one that matured into what he was?
Yeah, just way more cerebral as an older player. Way more able to conserve his energy. Like the young Kobe was just full of energy, man. Like ripped the rim off. I don't want to take away from how skilled he was, because clearly he was just an uber talent for forever. But he was just, fast and athletic and, balls to the wall, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like he still picked his time because he was playing in the triangle, but it was just super bursty, like fast twitch all over the place. And he was still like that when he was older, but he conserved it and he doled it out like when he needed to do it. And so I remember Kobe late in our career. He had me down in the low post. He had sealed. He got position, and he went. And
was he still throwing elbows?
Yeah, always throwing elbows, bro. Always, even when we were cool.
Okay.
And so he hit me with like a little left shoulder dip, and he went to come over his right shoulder with a little fadeaway, and my hand was there because I had timed that up pretty good. And he looked at me and he said, man, I forgot you got quick hands down there like that. And he didn't show me the ball in that position again the rest of the night. But that's how calculated, like he was really dialed into who you were as a defender and what he needed to do to counter that.
What kind of, like, when he is dialed in, because there's, from what I see on the court and what I see on TV and what I've seen, like seeing him play in person, sometimes he's smiling, sometimes he's talking shit, smiling though. Yeah. You know what I mean? But sometimes he's serious. What is the different ones you see, the different personalities you see when you are on the court with him?
I only knew one Kobe.
Okay.
And maybe it was because it was me and I didn't really talk a lot. But I only knew a dude who wasn't going to say anything to you, and I wasn't saying anything to him. And we were going at it. I mean, we started going at it. There was a game in Utah when I was, I don't know, this was my 4th year in the league. And he and I got into it, and he split me with like one of the fake elbows that people say, like I claim, but he caught me. The ref came over and had to separate us. And we went at it like from way back, like I wasn't on good enough teams to threaten his team, but that was the only way I knew him to be. Now we would at the tip, like ask about families and say what's up and dap each other up. But once that thing went up in the air, there was no talk.
So what's your favorite Kobe memory?
My favorite Kobe memory, I have two. And I posted a picture of me in a Kobe jersey yesterday on Instagram. It was me in front of Staples. It's like it was me in front of Staples and like my all Laker and Kobe stuff. And that was one of my first trips to LA to see him live. And that was great. That's not the story, but one of the best stories that I've had about him was I was interning in Sacramento for this radio station, and I was driving back and forth from Oakland to Sacramento. And I remember I drove up, and I remember I think I was like 18 or 19. And I was very shy back then, and I didn't know that I was, but I knew that night I wanted to ask him a question. And I remember it was 2012, 2013 season, and we thought this was probably going to be Kobe's last trip to Sacramento because there was rumors of them moving and things like that. And so I was very nervous, but I went about it, and I was like, I'm not gonna leave this locker room without at least talking to this man, because he was for 12-year-old Kobe for everything, or 12-year-old Logan. And I remember asking him about what he thought about the Kings leaving, and he gave a great answer. He was like, "Y'all not leaving. What are you talking about? You got you guys say this shit every year. It's not gonna happen." And then I followed up, and I was like, "You sure?" And he was like, "Nah, it's not gonna happen." And I remember that being a really, really big moment for me, because it made me think that I or know that I could do this. You know, that it wasn't so daunting to ask somebody like that a question.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big deal. And I found a video the other day. I'll probably post it. I'll post it before this comes out. But that was a big deal. And then there was another one where, and it was the same year, and I was interning still. But I drove down to LA for a Kings-Lakers game. And this was the night that Mike D'Antoni was actually hired as the coach of the Lakers. And the Lakers are going to play the Kings later on. I think the Kings like about 2 weeks later. And I'm going to the locker room. I ask them another question, get an answer. And I come out of the locker room, and then Kobe's behind me. And so I don't know Kobe. I don't even know, like, I don't think he's ever seen me before. And so I go to Kobe and I say, "Hey, Kobe, see you next week." And I tap him on the shoulder, like, "See you next week." And I thought it was going to be very awkward. And then 2 seconds later, I get like a very hard tap on my back, and it's Kobe, and he's like, "See you next week, bro." And I'm like, oh, like he hits me on the back, and I'm like, oh.
Right.
And he's like, "I'll see you next week, bro." And I just remember being like, oh shit, Kobe touched my, like gave me a pat on the back. Like, this is crazy. He didn't think nothing of it, but that was a big deal, because it was just like, oh, it broke the barrier between like media and player for me, you know, because there was always just like a wall, and you just don't talk to them unless it's in a scrum or whatever. Right. And those two moments were a big deal for me. So RIP Kobe, RIP GG, RIP the victims.
No doubt.
And happy birthday.